now I'd like to invite the Honorable Sapana Pradhan Malla. She's a very well-known person in Nepal, of course. Officially, she's one of the justices in the Supreme Court of Nepal. She's also a former member of Parliament or the Constituent Assembly. Before she joined the Constituent Assembly, she was a lawyer before the Supreme Court of Nepal. And she's been regarded as a public interest lawyer for raising voice in a number of very important cases, high-profile cases in Nepal, from water pollution to environmental destruction, and rampant use of pesticides and all that. More conspicuously, she's also been a leading advocate for civil rights, right to inheritance, and right to reproductive health, witness protection, maintenance of confidentiality, and lots of things, elusive legal areas, but very well known and very successful in actually converting her advocacy into concrete legal outcomes for many Nepalis. She holds a master's in law degree from Delhi University and a master's in public administration from the Harvard Kennedy School. Ms. Pradhan.
Mr. Honorable Member of National Planning Commission, Dr. Wadley, Right Honorable Speaker, Dr. Chaudhary, distinguished guests, delegates from all over the world. Today, I'm just going to highlight more specifically the struggle of Nepali women in acquiring right to inheritance. I'm going to be very specific because what I want to highlight today is sharing what helped us in economic equality, especially in right to inheritance, what challenges we faced on the process, and where we are right now in the implementation. But even before that, this is an exciting time for the country. Exciting in terms of smart policy helps. Smart policy helps because we have a new constitution, and new constitution has guaranteed many things, including, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but we also have a special measure for women. We have a special measure that says minimum 33% in result in Parliament, so that is able to guarantee 33%, not only in the Parliament, federal Parliament and state Parliament, but similar kind of affirmative action has been also guaranteed in the local government. As well as the language is quite important, the language of the Constitution, so when you negotiate for the policy dialogue, if the language is clear or not, what kind of policy you have makes different. And then we have a language that says Speaker, Deputy Speaker, President, Vice President, one has to be woman. As a result, we have President woman, Speaker woman, and also we have a Chief Justice woman. So it's exciting time for us. Smart policy matters. Smart policy matters, but when you don't have a smart policy, what happens? Who controls the economy of the country? Who is in a decision-making process? Especially, I'm talking about as an executive head. It's men, because the Prime Minister is men, and no woman until now in the economic decision-making process. Especially, I'm talking about the head of the Planning Commission, as a finance minister, including federations like Federation of Chamber of Commerce, Federation of FNCCI. These all the institutions which controls and decides economics are still held by man. Therefore, smart policy needs to also include other sector so that we can make sure that women are participated in the process. Secondly, the other challenge which we are also confronting right now in the after earthquake, when we initiated disaster management, we also said no, it's not enough that women are engaged in disaster management. We also need to make sure that the risk reduction process is also gender sensitive, and in the reconstruction process, we said no, woman needs to be engaged in the reconstruction. And the reconstruction authority they advertised women's participation in the reconstruction process, and they wanted women to join. In fact, they wanted proportional representation in the reconstruction process. When they called for the engineer, mostly women were architect, not civil engineer. They wanted skilled human resources, they wanted mason, they wanted plumber, they wanted electrician. No woman had a skill, that is skill. So we are still in the stereotyping job as a result. What happens? And even not only that, as a constructor business, only 0.28% of women are participating. So where there is a demand, there is no supply of women. So the other issue which I want to raise here, yes, you need a smart policy, but you also need to make sure that that policy is not continuing stereotyped job, stereotyped work, and stereotyped role of women. By saying this, I want to take you to Nepal at that time when women had no right to inheritance. Now we have all the right. Nepali law said a woman has to be 35 years old and she has to be unmarried if she wants to inherit parental property. So this was the law. But what helped to change the law? The first thing is the research, the mapping of the law. When we mapped the law in Nepal, we did not only map the facial discriminatory law, we also looked at the effect of the neutral law, and we also tried to look at the vacuum, the gap of the law. And what we did is we looked at the impact of whether there is a vacuum of the law or impact of the neutral law as well as discriminatory law. And doing this research, again, I said one thing what it brought is evidence of discrimination and evidence of how it is impacting on women. But while looking into the impact, what we also looked at is correlation. Because when you are excluded from right to inheritance, it has severe impact on overall development. Because there is no right, there is no duty, there is no expectation from women. As a result, your opportunities are limited. And therefore, we try to look into the correlation. And third thing, what we looked at during the research is the barrier. What is the impeding factor? Who, why, where? So we looked at three aspects: where, why, who. And then within that research, we also wanted to develop the strategy for the change. And for that, we also looked at who are the responsible authority for change. So when we looked at all those things, we had a research which itself not only gave the evidence but helped us to internalize the policymaker for change. But again, like as I said in the beginning, that first we looked at why, who, where, and then we found that the major reason of exclusion of women was a law. Because law can be a tool for equality, law can be a tool for justice, but when you have a law, it discriminates. When you have a law, it doesn't recognize rights of women, then you cannot use the law. And when you don't have a law, you cannot create accountability to the state. Because law is but then again, like what kind of law you have. If it is a good law, it can be an indicator of change. If it is a good law, it can be an interrogator for change. It can be an initiator for change. But when you don't have you have a problematic law, you cannot use the law. So our focus was to reform the law. And then you are talking about changing the law means at that time of our society, Nepal was not a secular state. Nepal was a Hindu state, and law was influenced by religion and culture. So you had to challenge the state, you had to challenge the religion, you had to challenge the culture. It wasn't easy. So the strategy what we used at that time, we used public interest litigation, class action as a strategic tool. Then what happened? Yes, the court says it's a discriminatory, and the court also said issued a directive to the government to change the law. But then sometimes we tend, as many of us are lawyers here, we say, oh, these are decisions, everything will be taken care of. No, it took 7 years to register the bill in the parliament. It took 7 years to register even the bill in the parliament. And the moment the courts changed the law, people said, why are you talking about inheritance right? Women should demand education, right to education. You should, if you are educated, you get everything. For us, the choices were either you have to opt either education or property, but for men, right after the birth, both education as well as property. And many of our brothers would say, oh, I have a property, I will sell the property for my higher education, whereas we did not have that opportunity. And then secondly, when we demanded for equal right to inheritance, what happened? They said, oh, why a partisan system? We should go for the will system. So the smart thing, what we decided at the time, we said, no, we need to bring also the foreign experience. Sometimes you need to also have a foreign experiences, how the will system is working in other countries. And we realized we went for the foreign trip for gaining the experiences, and we realized two things is to be prepared. One is state preparation. You have to have a welfare system at the state level. And secondly, you have to have a mindset, a society that is prepared for will system. And at that time we didn't have both. And therefore we said, no, we want to continue the inheritance system. So 2000, and again, like one thing what I want to say, like for policy change, even to bring the smart policy, you don't have to be in power and authority. Even without being in authority, without being in power, as an individual, as a civil society, you can influence for the change. And this inheritance law is an example of change by the community, by the people, through the social mobilization, through the public interest litigation. So the change cannot be expected in one day, one night. The first amendment took place in 2002. That says, oh, daughter has equal right to inheritance, but once she marries, she has to return the property. Then in 2006, another amendment took place. And when we agreed for that language, why did we agree for that language at that time in 2002 was because it guaranteed equal right to married women. It guaranteed the right, one share to divorcee women, and it also guaranteed one share to widows, which we did not have at that time because our law was influenced by Hinduism. And then we agreed, but again, like when you work for change, when you work for policy change, we women were divided time to time. So you have to deal with your own confrontation within your movement. And secondly, then what happened? No, we said no, movement rights have no border and movement has no end. So we continued our struggle, and in 2006, the second amendment said, no, once you inherit, you don't have to return the property. Then at that time what happened? Once you return, you don't have to return the property, but those daughters who were married, they were still excluded. And in 2015, the latest amendment said whether you are married or unmarried, there's no discrimination based on the marital status, so everyone has equal right. And now this has also been guaranteed in the new constitution. So we have a law. There's a recognition of right. But question is, having law, if enough, have we been able to work to develop the strategy for the implementation? And I think this is the time where I also want the researchers who are engaged to explore the possibility and the strategy for the effective implementation. But even in this process, yes, we are confronting, because law and society has to go together. We still have a strong priority society. I mean, we used to be very proud. Bimlaji is here. We used to be proud because although we have China and India in between, and we used to be proud because we felt like, oh, we still have a higher gender ratio in Nepal. Nepal, we still have like 51.4% women. But what is discouraging and danger we have found is the newborn child girl ratio is decreasing. And we still have a son priority society. So until and unless that is balanced, and the social norms, social expectation, values, mindset is changed, we don't think rights can be realized. So although there is a right, and now being a judge in the court, I can see like how many women are coming and claiming the right in the court. So you have a policy, you have a law, and that is important. But having that is not enough until and unless there is a capability, empowerment, internal empowerment of a person who wants to claim the right, who are the right holder, until and unless the capabilities necessary for the enjoyment and exercise rights are developed, and that is where we need to focus. But unfortunately, no budget has been allocated, no programs are developed for the rights to be realized. And maybe this is again opportunity for me to get attention of Dr. Wagle, so that he includes in our planning process in P1 with some program, because program is important. Program helps. And I want to give examples of the program, because what we did a few years back. We said, yes, the government planning commission always says, oh, we want to see the increased ownership of women. And equal inheritance right came only in 2002, started from 2002, but it is completed only in 2015. But we said, no, we need some policy, some programmatic intervention. And we asked the then finance minister that, why don't you have some program to exempt revenue if properties are transferred in the name of women? It is started, and now it goes up to 30% exemption if properties are transferred in the name of women. And in 2001, census indicated women were holding 10.7% land and 5% house in 2000 women, and it has doubled in 2011, and I think it will be tripled in the upcoming census. So what helps is some kind of programmatic policy intervention, not only in inheritance, same thing should be applied even in generating employment opportunity. So, yes, we need policy, we need program, but more importantly, of course, we need law. But unfortunately, as we were engaged collectively in law-making process strategically, and also I think this is an opportunity for me to ask, not as a judge, but as a citizen of this country, that you all also need to work together, developing certain strategies for implementation, because we have law, and maybe you need to see what are the barriers in the implementation of the law. Is there internal barrier, external barrier, who are responsible for legal empowerment, because economic justice is key, and poverty is what we have seen is the worst forms of violence, and women are poorest among the poor. And as what I've seen, poverty is also cause and consequences of violence, and is also a barrier for justice. Last time I was sharing with someone that many women, they get hostile because many even trafficked victim and rape victim, they become hostile because sometimes they are lured because of the poverty. Many women are trafficked because they are lured because they have no option in their life, whether in the migration process or in other process. So economic empowerment is key, and we have opportunity with new constitution, we have opportunity with new set of goal set by UN through the Sustainable Development Goal. And this policy dialogue is quite inspiring and encouraging for me, and hopefully your meetings, your dialogue will be able to develop many opportunities for many of us. And I'll just stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, the Honorable Justice of the Supreme Court of Nepal, Sapana Pradhan Malla, for taking us through her journey of fighting some very consequential battles and actually winning. she's used to winning all these major wins. So it's an absolute honor for us to have you as one of the justices in the Supreme Court. And she rightly mentioned about high-level representations of women. I think in the private sector we're going to have a leader, a female leader, Ms. Rana, soon, very soon. At the Planning Commission, we haven't had a vice chairman or vice chairperson yet.